Today I'm going to be counting down the top 10 lists of missing prequel figures. A lot of people have done this in the past before, but instead of doing what most people do with this, I'm going to also talk about what sets they could appear in and what sets they could have appeared in, because I feel like that's more interesting than just talking about, oh, we don't have Commander Cody. Number 10, Chancellor Volorum. He's not one of the main characters in Star Wars or even the main villain. He's more of like the adversary for the growth of the Empire, which happened. He more sets up the growth of the Empire in the future. And while not a main character, he's still important to the story of how Palpatine ascended into being the Galactic Emperor and how the Empire started. And that's reason enough alone to have him in LEGO. Now, for some reason, LEGO has something against space politics, which is kind of weird because it is not even real. But I kind of understand why LEGO wants to leave politics alone. But still, Chancellor Volorum should be in LEGO. Now, sets that he could appear in the past, the only one that kind of fits the criteria that he could appear in is either Palpatine's arrest, which doesn't really make sense because that's set in episode 3, or a May the 4th promo. There's not, again, like I mentioned before, LEGO kind of leaves space politics alone, so those are the only sets I could see him being a part of in the past, and sets that he could appear in the future. Again, LEGO doesn't do politics, so probably just a Minifig series is the only place I can really see him. If we're lucky, maybe a transport shuttle and just have him in there. Captain Typhon. Typhon's in a surprising lot of Star Wars material if you think about it. He's the first character who speaks in episode 2. He's in the 2003 Clone Wars and the 2008 Clone Wars and episode 3. Like, he's in a lot of Star Wars material. He's not a background character like most people would think he is. He delivers quite a bit of dialogue. He's not a main character, but he is there. And we've been missing out on really people surrounding Padme, like her handmaidens and her security. They have been largely absent from LEGO sets, which is strange. Now, sets that he could have appeared in is an N1 Naboo Starfighter for episode 2, because we so far have only received one N1 Naboo Starfighter from episode 2. And future sets that he could appear in is Padme's personal ship, one of the sober Nubians, or the one that we see in episode 3 or episode 2, the more sleeker design, which I prefer. I think it's more iconic. Or another N1 Naboo Starfighter from episode 2. Preferably, maybe the next time we see UCS one, it could be set in episode 2 again, since it seems to be a trend that LEGO's only made UCS sets for episode 2, which is also even more strange because the lead designer doesn't really like episode 2. Boss Nass, he's in a lot of iconic scenes in Star Wars, including the one where he delivers this, and also the one where he announces Jar Jar to be the general of the Gungan army. We also haven't gotten a ton of prequel aliens in Star Wars, and we definitely haven't seen this, I would like to call it, fat variation of the Gungans, or mini Gungans in general. So, he's the next best option for a Gungan to appear in Star Wars. Sets that he could have appeared in is the Gungan sub, and sets that he could appear in the future is the Gungan sub. Or the scene where he's announcing Jar Jar General, we see the speeders in the background, so we can get another speeder from this scene. Almost every single time we see Masamita in Star Wars, he is with Palpatine. And LEGO, like I mentioned before, has something against space politics. Again, we need more prequel aliens. So far, the only prequel aliens I can think of the top of my head that we have gotten in LEGO is Geonosians, Gungans, and Tordarians, and some of the Jedi like Nolans and Keldors. But we haven't gotten many common, just random people as aliens in Star Wars. Masamita himself plays a key role in the storylines that happen between episode 5 and 6 and afterwards, where in many books he is mentioned as taking control of Coruscant after Palpatine's death as sort of a puppet figure. The sets they could appear in is the Palpatine's arrest or Palpatine shuttle, the original one. And those are also sets that he should appear in the future, in my opinion, because we need another Palpatine's arrest and another one of Palpatine's shuttles, because it's been decades since we last seen them. Number 5, Sabe. I know this is a completely really strange pick. Like, why are you choosing Sabe off more important character? She's only appeared in one Star Wars movie. And by saying that, you would actually be wrong. She's been in a very massive role in the Darth Vader comics, and 2 going on to 3 Padme novels, and where she plays an unforgettable part in those stories. She's legitimately entertaining for someone who's such a bland character in the prequels. But for LEGO-wise, like I mentioned, we have not gotten any handmaidens in Star Wars. We haven't gotten any of the handmaidens in LEGO. The Handmaidens are one of the most iconic designs in episode 1 in my opinion. And even Padme wore this dress before. But also she was the queen. She took Padme's spot as the queen in the movie, which, look in hindsight, it's kind of a dumb reveal. But at the time it was a reveal. She was the queen, and it would have been a very easy way to get more queen outfits for Padme, which we have only received one of, or going on 9 years ago. So it would have been very easy just to throw in a queen figure. Says that she could have appeared in. There's not many, to be honest, that she could have appeared in, since Lego really only does ships from episode 1. They have not done any display, anything from episode 1. There's no real sets that she could have appeared in. But sets that she could appear in is, again, Padme's ship. We desperately need a Padme ship so we can get a Typhon, Padme's handmaidens, even a Padme in her handmaiden outfit, or one of her various queen outfits, and a Sabe somewhere in there. Dexter. Okay, let me have this one. A lot of us love Dexter. He's one of the biggest memes in Star Wars going on years now. It's strange we haven't gotten a Dexter, because the first Lego Star Wars games is featured in Dexter's restaurant. So that, in my opinion, that's reason enough to put him in some type of set, because this iconic location and very nostalgic location to one of the beginnings of something massive with Lego, we haven't even gotten. It's completely absent. But honestly, I don't really see us getting a Dexter's restaurant. I would love that. That would be a perfect master builder set. And there's no sets that Dexter could appear in, unfortunately. But it's really sad that we have not received a Dexter yet. Jocasta Nu. She's the head librarian in Star Wars. And I feel like she's the biggest Jedi we have not gotten so far. The Jedi with the biggest role. Again, I know a lot of people don't read comics, and 100% the elite designers do not read comics themselves. But he's a big part of one of the best comics to come from Star Wars, period. So, but not only that, this Jedi library is a very iconic location in the Jedi Temple alone. And unfortunately, Lego's never done a Jedi Temple so far. So if we ever get a Jedi Temple, 100% get a Jocasta Nu. Number 3, lamasu. I say lamasu in this entry because it's the most known Kaminoan that we got in Lego, but we just need Kaminoans in general in Lego. That is the biggest alien species we have not gotten in Lego so far. It's the Kaminoans. And for someone who's literally the reason why we got the clone troopers in general, we have not gotten anything for their species. Even the Bad Batch. Hopefully we get something set on Kamino so we can get some Kaminoans, but unfortunately I don't see that coming true in many, many years, if ever. And I know Legos probably have a hard time designing the minifigures because of how sleek they are and how interesting the alien looks. It would be extremely difficult to make in Lego, but there's been many mock-ups online on how to do it, and those look pretty good. lamasu, the reason why I chose him specifically is the first Kaminoan we see him. He plays the keyest role in the Clone Wars and in Episode 2. Sets that the Kaminoans could have appeared in is this Jango Fett starfighter, and he could appear in a future Jango Fett starfighter we have not gotten in 20 years. So Lego, we really need to go in Slave 1 Jango Fett's version, because the Boba Fett Slave 1 is starting to turn into Luke's Landspeeder. We're getting way too many of those. Number 2, Commander Cody. Technically, if you're one of those weird people, we have seen Commander Cody in Episode 3 form in this Commander Blot. That is not Commander Cody, contrary to popular belief that the complete saga did in the past. That is not Commander Cody. But you also might be saying, haven't we seen Phase 1 Commander Cody? But again, this is just prequel minifigures. This doesn't count the Clone Wars, which I might do in the future. I don't even feel like I have to go over why we need Commander Cody. There's been many videos online on why we need Commander Cody. You can check out any of the thousands upon thousands of videos on complaining and explaining why we need a Commander Cody in Lego. And there was a real opportunity that we could have gotten him in the Grievous Starfighter. I love that airborne trooper that we've gotten, but we could just easily swap him out for Commander Cody. So sets that he could have appeared in is this General Grievous the Starfighter. Sets that he could appear in, this is kind of my dream, is that instead of getting a standard gunship from Episode 2 or something like that, we get an Utapau gunship with a ton of 212 troopers, which we have not gotten in a while. And that would be perfect because this is the scene where we see the most gunships in. Or the ATTE that shoots down Obi-Wan, which there's probably a reason why we haven't gotten that. But getting these two ships, it would be perfect to get just so many 212 minifigures, which we have not gotten in so long, and just have a Commander Cody in there. Honorable mentions, the Lars family, which I think we're going to get in the future for Obi-Wan. Sayu Bibble, who doesn't like Sayu Bibble? He just didn't make the list. He was, but I realized that there are some characters that desperately need to go over him. And Kitster. Who cares about Kitster? Do you? I don't. Should I care about Kitster? Whatever. Number one, Shmi. She plays the biggest role in any of the Star Wars movies that has not gotten a minifigure. She's literally the mother of the main character in Star Wars, period. Like, she's the mother of the most iconic villain. And the reason why Star Wars exists, kinda. The reason why the galaxy turned out like it does. The reason why we probably gotten her is because she was beaten and tortured in the Tusken Raiders encampment, but also potentially other things might have happened to her. If you know, you know. But Anakin also killed kids, so it is reason enough. I think we should get a Shmi Skywalker minifigure, unless you count this bone in the Trouble in Tatooine Shmi Skywalker. Which there you go, we had a Shmi Skywalker. We can wrap up this video anyway. Sets that she could have appeared in is Anakin's one of the variations of Anakin's Pod Racer or Watto's Junkyard. Throw her in there, it would be perfect. Or in the future, due to release Pod Racer for Anakin in the future, Anakin and Saboba we need, and I can see that happening in about 5 years, that we get another Pod Racer. But anyways, speaking of minifigures that we haven't gotten, we need more Resistance minifigures, because we barely got any Resistance minifigures. And speaking of that, it's a perfect opportunity to go watch Star Wars Resistance. It's always on Disney+. Go watch Star Wars Resistance now. Sets that the Kaminoans could have appeared in is this Jango Fett Starfighter, and he could appear in a future Jango Fett Starfighter. We have not gotten in 20 years, so Lego, we really need to go in Slave 1 Jango Fett's version, because the Boba Fett Slave 1 is starting to turn into Luke's Landspeeder. We're getting way too many of those.